Now we move on to the occupation. I mean, one of the reasons for the occupation, or what the Bush administration told the people, was women, Iraqi women, women's rights, and also to put an end to their suffering. Obviously, they did not mention the suffering of Iraqi women was because mainly at that time, the sanctions for 12 years, which being considered to be a genocide and being declared a genocide by a few of the very influential United Nations, two United Nations responsible about the food for oil program in Iraq, and von Sponik, one of them. And so no mention of that, no mention of that if you wanted to get a pencil, you cannot get in Iraq, you don't have any journals, you don't have any books for 12 years. The sanctions killed more Iraqis than you, I mean children in particular, for the lack of everything. This genocide was ignored completely, and the the Bush administration was building up on lies, weapons of mass destruction, and the link between Saddam Hussein's regime and Al-Qaeda, another lie, proved to be lies, and third, Iraqi women. And this Iraqi women's rights became actually as a later stage when there was the moral justification for the war. They started to need it. They saw that the support for the war was thin on the ground. People were demonstrating. In Britain, there were people in the streets saying no to the war. In America itself, and around the world, so there is a new justification. So there is the development of using women issues to intervene. It's not, they look at this is a humanitarian almost intervention. The military intervention based on now gender issues. It's women we care about, Iraqi women in particular. So let's see what they did to Iraqi women. Statistically, if we're talking about, and I'm talking about statistics now, there is 1 million widows in Iraq. And this is after occupation. I'm not talking about widows before, during the Iraqi run. Iraqi families consist in average of 5 kids. That give us 5 million orphans. There are 4.7 million refugees and displaced inside the country and outside the country. There is in Amman, the United Nations United Nations High Commission for Refugees, the figure saying that there are 300 cases of sexual violence against men. So democracy really is applicable in Iraq, but when it comes to violence on both males and females, it's for the first time in our history now we hear about gender equality in that sense, that the occupiers are violating men and women in the prisons. And when you saw the pictures of Abu Ghraib, that was just the tip of the iceberg, because there were so many of them, and still are. Because it's not just the prisons and detention centers and camps controlled by the US and the British, but also those Iraqis who they were supporting, and they trained them as well. So it's the development now of this. And I don't know if you read The Guardian yesterday, because there is a case now. It's a young man who is taking the army to court because he was raped by the British soldiers. And they taking the case. He was 18 when he was arrested. Again, in Amman, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, there are figures of 4,516 cases of sexual violence in Iraq. 4,233 of them are women. 90% of them rape cases. This is what the American democracy brought to Iraq. This is what some of the colonial feminists were supporting the cause, and still are in Iraq as well, doing it. I mean, that's a picture. I chose this one specifically because I wanted to show you that this link now between photography and the Americans. This is the kind of almost pornography. They enjoy taking photos of Iraqis. This young man just been released from prison, from Buka in the south of Iraq, and they're taking photos. I know of cases when they force also women, when their husbands are arrested, they force the women to take photos of their men in order to humiliate the men and the women and in front of the children. And with society like ours, where family is still close and they all, the extended family, live in one house and all, so this is a humiliation of a whole family, and it's on a larger extent the whole humiliation of all Iraqis. This is what they pushing. This is General Adorno on the 11th of September last week. He is saying there, this is in Baghdad actually, this is not in America, in the States or anywhere, this is in Baghdad. And I know, I don't know if you read that they were supposedly, the troops withdraw from the cities. They're still there, and they are in control, and they're doing what they like, still there. If not themselves, but the mercenaries with them, because the contractors are there. Though they talk about Obama's change of policy, and that's Obama is, there is this gradual pull-out of the troops, but no one is mentioning anything about the increase in the mercenaries. There was an increase since Obama came to power by 23% of mercenaries, contractors in Iraq. They just renewed the contracts with Blackwater, who were responsible about killing many Iraqis, as proved, as well as the violation of the human rights, the constant violation of the human rights. What General Adorno is telling his troops there, that on this occasion, we are here, and I'm quoting him, to make sure that there will be no Islamic Republic working with Al-Qaeda in Iraq. This is Hassan Abdullah. He had two people staying with him at night, guests, friends, and he got his family with him. And on the 9th of September, US troops plus with Iraqi soldiers attacked his house, killed the guests. He's left there, and those are the wives there. Mother and sister-in-law, actually, of the two men killed in an overnight raid. Obviously, I mean, the raids are, it takes place after 2 o'clock, after midnight usually. So when you are in bed, you can't do much about it. When you are totally, I mean, unaware what's going on around you, and you often, men and women, often taken while they're still in their 90s or pajamas without giving them the chance to change, a change of clothes. This is about electricity. Basic services haven't been restored yet. In fact, electricity is, the supply of electricity is lower than what it used to be under Saddam Hussein sanction years. This is a woman trying to some fresh air, look, waiting for the baby because of the heat. I mean, Baghdad temperature in the summer reaches up to 50 degrees centigrade. And I mean, electricity, it's not just you feel hot, but it's about everything functioning. It's about jobs, about employment, about the industry, about everything running daily life.